Body composition is the proportion of fat to muscle that somebody has, and it can change with changes in diet and also changes in exercise habits. In lectures, we've been learning about nutrition and the importance of diet in determining body composition in both athletes and non-athletes. Most people who want to change their body composition will change their diet and exercise habits. Reducing caloric intake and increasing exercise output will have the greatest influence on changing your body composition. There are a number of different methods for measuring body composition, but unfortunately there seems to be a positive correlation between the cost and the accuracy. There's no point in selecting the cheapest method if it's completely inaccurate. Now, the most expensive method is a DEXA scanner, and it's also the most accurate, and you require a lot of specialised equipment and specialised personnel. Similar to an X-ray, it scans your entire body and will give you an accurate proportion of fat to muscle in each of your body compartments. A DEXA scanner provides a printout of your total bone mass, muscle mass and adipose mass for each body compartment as well as the body as a whole, and it is very, very accurate. If we work down the scale to a slightly less expensive system, it's underwater weighing. You still need specialised equipment, a tank of water. And then if we work further down, we can get to Skinfold, so the accuracy is going to be a bit decreased, but it's much more affordable. And then probably at the bottom of the list is the BIA scales. The most common way to measure skinfolds is to locate 7 skinfold sites. Now, to do that, we need to first find the anatomical landmarks. When we find the anatomical landmarks, we'll draw a horizontal line on the subject, and then we'll use those landmarks to locate the skinfold site, and we'll draw a cross. Here I have a set of skinfold calipers. We can see there's a scale on the calipers, and that actually tells us how many millimetres of skin that we've pinched. When using the calipers, it's really important that you can see the scale as you're using them. You can't use them upside down. When we're measuring skinfolds, we always take skinfolds from the right-hand side of the body. And when we locate the skinfold site that we've drawn previously with the cross, we'll put our thumb and index finger in the top 2 corners of the cross, and we put the calipers in the bottom 2 corners. You'll then pinch the skin and count to 3, and on 3 you'll record the reading from the skinfold calipers and type that into the Excel spreadsheet. All skinfold measurements should be recorded twice. This spreadsheet will alert you if you need to take a 3rd reading, if there's too much of a difference between your 1st and 2nd readings. Finding the acromial landmark. The definition of this landmark is the point on the superior aspect of the most lateral part of the acromial border. The subject assumes a relaxed position with the arms hanging by the side. The shoulder girdle should be in mid position. Standing behind on the right side of the subject, palpate along the spine of the scapula to the corner of the acromion. This represents the start of the lateral border, which usually runs anteriorly, slightly superiorly, and medially. Apply the straight edge of a pencil to the lateral and superior margin of the acromion to confirm the location of the most lateral part of the border. Mark this most lateral aspect with a single horizontal line. Radiale landmark. The point on the proximal and lateral border of the head of the radius. The subject assumes a relaxed position with the arm hanging by the side and the hand in the mid-prone position. Palpate downward into the lateral dimple of the right elbow. It should be possible to feel the space between the capitulum of the humerus and the head of the radius. Move the thumb distally onto the most lateral part of the proximal radial head. Correct location can be checked by a slight rotation of the forearm, which causes the head of the radius to rotate. Once you've found this location, draw a horizontal line. The Mid-Acromiale Radiale Landmark. This is the midpoint of the straight line joining the acromiale and the radiale. Measure the linear distance between the acromiale and radiale landmarks with the arm relaxed and extended by the side. Place a small mark at the level of the midpoint and project this mark to the posterior surface of the arm as a horizontal line. This site will be used to measure the triceps and biceps skin folds. Triceps skin fold site. The point on the posterior surface of the arm in the midline at the level of the marked mid-acromiale radiale landmark. You'll just need to draw a cross here. Bicep skin fold site. Like the tricep skin fold site, this is the point on the arm at the midline at the level of the marked mid-acromiale radiale landmark. However, this is on the anterior surface. Subscapulare Landmark. This is the undermost tip of the inferior angle of the scapula. Palpate the inferior angle of the scapula with the left thumb. If there is a difficulty locating the inferior angle, have the subject slowly reach behind the back with the right arm. The inferior angle of the scapula should then be felt continuously as the subject's hand is again placed by the side of the body. A final check of this landmark should be made with the hand by the side in a relaxed position. You'll then draw a horizontal line. Subscapular skin fold site. This site is 2 centimeters along a line running laterally and obliquely down from the subscapulare landmark at a 45-degree angle. You'll just need to measure this with a tape measure and on the site draw a cross. Iliospinale Landmark. This is the point on the iliac crest where a line drawn from the mid-axilla to the longitudinal axis of the body meets the ilium. Use your left hand to stabilize the subject's body by providing resistance on the left side of the pelvis. Find the general location on the top of the iliac crest with the fingers on the right hand. Once the general position has been located, find the specific edge of the crest by horizontal palpation with the tips of the fingers. Once identified, draw a horizontal line at the level of the iliac crest. Draw an imaginary line from the mid-axilla down the midline of the body. The landmark is the intersection of these 2 lines. Iliospinale Landmark. This is the most inferior or undermost part of the tip of the anterior superior iliac spine. Palpate the superior aspects of the ilium and follow it anteriorly until the anterior superior iliac spine, or ASIS, is reached. The landmark is at the lower margin or edge where the bone can just be felt. Difficulty in appraising this landmark can be eased by having the subject lift the heel of the right foot and rotate the femur outward. Because the sartorius muscle originates at the iliospinae, this movement of the femur enables palpation of the muscles and tracing its origin. Once located, draw a horizontal line. Supraspinale skin fold site. This is the point of the intersection of the line from the marked iliospinae and the horizontal line at the level of the marked iliocristae. Run a tape measure from the anterior axillary body to the marked iliospinae and draw a short line along the side roughly at the level of the iliocristae. Here you'll put a cross. The abdominale skin fold site. This is the point 5 centimeters horizontally to the right-hand side at the midpoint of the navel. You'll just need to draw a cross here. Medial calf skin fold site. This is the point on the most medial aspect of the calf at the level of the maximal girth. You'll need to measure the maximal girth with a tape measure up and down the leg until you find the highest reading. You'll then put a cross. Front of thigh skin fold site. The measurer starts facing the right side of the seated subject on the lateral side of the thigh. If there is difficulty locating the inguinal fold, the subject should flex the hip to make the fold. Place a small horizontal mark at the level of the midpoint between these two landmarks. Now draw a perpendicular line that intersects the horizontal line down the midline of the thigh. Now the subject should be sitting to measure this skin fold site.